Photos and videos can make your stories more engaging, relatable, and persuasive. In this chapter, you learn some basic techniques for capturing and editing photos and videos. So go get your smartphone or digital camera and let's get started. We'll cover the following. 1. Learn about your equipment. 2. Plan your video or photo shoot. 3. Shoot your scenes. 4. Edit your photos and videos. Smartphones are a great way to capture photos and video for your story. Before you start, ask yourself these questions. Do you have enough space on your device to store photos and videos? If not, you may need to invest in an external memory drive or a cloud account. Does your smartphone record good quality video and audio? Be sure to test it. You'll want to use high resolution around 1920 by 1080 or higher. Finally, which apps can you use for photo and video editing? See the apps table in your handbook for a guide. Using a camera can give you excellent quality video and photos, but you will need to have a good understanding of your camera and its features. The key elements to understand are aperture, which determines depth of field; shutter speed, which relates to image movement, exposure, and sharpness; and ISO, which is about sensitivity to light. Play around with your camera settings to see what works best in different contexts like indoor, outdoor, and low light settings. Visit your camera manufacturer's website for instructions and technical information, and like your smartphone, make sure you have enough storage space for your photos and videos. You'll likely need extra memory cards for your footage. Test your device's microphone before you start recording. You could consider using an external microphone. This will significantly improve the quality of your video's audio. Always make sure that your battery is fully charged before recording and bring an extra battery just in case. Shaky footage is very common beginner's error. It can make the footage very distracting and hard to watch. If possible, use a monopod or tripod to keep your device steady. If you don't have access to either, try using a chair, table, or wall to steady your shot. 2. Plan your video or photo story. Use your storyboard to create a list of shots, scenes, and footage you'll need. Don't forget to include shots of the setting to help show the context and environment in which your story takes place. As part of your scene or shot list, include names, locations, and dates, and develop a list of props if you think they'll help to tell your story. For example, if your story is about healthy eating, you might want to have fruit and vegetables ready to be used in your shoot. 3. Shooting your scenes during production. Use the ABCDE method to help you decide how to shoot scenes. A is for angle. Most of the time, it's best to film horizontally. Vertical shots are usually only used for Instagram Reels or Stories, TikTok or Facebook Stories. Shooting your setting and subjects from different angles will make your video more dynamic. Try shooting some scenes from above, below, or even from the side. B is for background. Pay attention to the elements in your scenes and avoid backgrounds that have distracting movement or are too cluttered and noisy. C stands for composition. Use the rule of thirds. Look at the entire frame of your video or photo before you shoot. Visualize 2 horizontal and 2 vertical grid lines like this. When viewing images, our eyes naturally look at the intersection points of these lines rather than the center of the shot. Frame or move your subject along the lines of the grid so that key elements like people's faces are placed at intersection points. This will help to ensure viewers focus on the most important parts of the image. D is for distance. Experiment and get creative with wide, medium, and close-up shots. Finally, E stands for exposure. Make sure there is enough light in the space when you are shooting. Low light can result in poor quality images. Avoid backlighting your subject. Backlighting is when your light source is behind your subject, making it harder to see them. Instead, have your subject face the light source, whether it's a lamp indoors or the sun outdoors. 4. Edit your photos and videos. Using your storyboard and story arc as references, look through your footage and photos and select the shots that best tell your story. Next, it's time to edit. You can edit footage on your smartphone or computer by using the recommended apps at the end of Chapter 3 in your handbook. You might want to move the footage around to get the best sequence for your story. You don't have to follow the order you recorded it in. Additionally, cut unwanted scenes to shorten your video. It's always best to make the story as succinct as possible. Here are some elements you can consider adding to videos. Screen transitions like fading to black between scenes. Titles and text like names, locations, or job titles. Subtitles if necessary. Subtitles are important if your video will be shared on social media, as many people scroll through their feed with the sound turned off. You may also want to translate the script and add subtitles into a different language depending on your audience. Sounds are just as important as visuals when it comes to storytelling. Make sure all the voices are clear and audible. You may choose to add a soundtrack or music to mark different parts of the story. For example, use tense music during conflict and climax sections and upbeat or calm music during the resolution. Decide which formats you need for your selected platforms. For example, square images work best for Instagram. Refer to the recommended apps in Chapter 3 of your handbook. Use the apps to explore editing the lighting, contrast, focus, and other visual elements of your photos. The more you practice editing and try different options, the better you will get. You will usually save your images as medium to high resolution JPEGs, but it's a good idea to check the file type requirements of the dissemination channels you'll be using.